In this video, I want to talk about glass-specific microfiber towels, when to use them, which ones to use, and really get into these specific type of towels because it's something that frustrated me when I was starting in the business. What's going on, and welcome back to the Wilson Auto Detailing community. If you're new here and you love everything auto detailing like I do, then consider subscribing. So right now, I've got this Audi sitting behind me, two-door, really sweet, take care of it, it's got a ceramic coating, the works, okay? And I'm addressing the interior windows. I was thinking to myself, I've got to shoot a video about some of these towels because there's so much, like if there's one area of detailing where it's like, man, this is confusing, it's what do I use to clean glass? Because it feels like even when you use the right things, you still get streaks, you still get fingerprints, like it's like sucks to get it right. So let's talk about it. As you guys can see, these are Max Shine microfiber towels. First one is a Glass Crazy microfiber towel. Second one is the Wonder Drying Crazy. This is not a glass specific, this is a waffle weave. So I'm gonna go ahead and open both of these up. Okay, so just before we start anything, I want to talk about the initial differences, just so we are on the same page about the towels. A glass-specific microfiber towel, you will find, it is generally very thin. I'm going to take the tag off. It's generally very thin, okay? Hopefully you guys can see that. It's thin, it's not a high GSM, right? GSM, I believe, is grams per square meter, all right? So the higher, basically the higher GSM, the thicker the towel, the higher pile it's going to be, and then the lower the GSM, the lower the pile is going to be, the thinner it's going to be. Basically, the idea here is the reason why you find glass-specific microfiber towels that are thin like this, and they've got a really tight weave. In other words, you're not going to see a bunch of loose fibers on this. It's not going to be very fibrous in the first place. It's a very tight weave. Reason is, if you guys have ever used a traditional microfiber on a window, you have probably found that there's these little pieces of lint and fibers that get left behind, and it is infuriating, okay? It used to happen to me and I could not figure out why when I was really young getting into this business. The reason is, when you have a higher pile microfiber towel and it's not quite as tight of a weave and it gets used over and over again, you basically have a situation where the fibers of the towel start to let go. They start to degrade. Like when you wash and dry microfiber, you will start to see that the microfiber degrades, right? Like everything in the universe, okay? It's I believe, what is it? The second law of thermodynamics, everything tends toward disorder, okay? If you leave something, or you wash it, or you use it, or you dry it, it will start to degrade, okay? That is what is happening. The more a microfiber towel degrades, particularly when the microfiber towel has a higher GSM, a higher pile, those fibers will loosen up and they will come off on the window when you're cleaning it. And it will piss you off because it's really hard to get them off because you're trying to use the same towel to get them off and you're just moving them around or putting more of them on. Okay, I'll stop. That's why you see glass-specific microfibers with a very tight weave and they're very thin, okay? That's an oversimplistic answer, but I'm just telling you that's why. Now, waffle weave towels. Let's talk about the waffle weave. Why do people love waffle weave towels? Why do they dry well? Why am I using this particular towel on glass even though it's not a specific glass microfiber towel? Well, not everything is as it seems, right? So if you've ever taken a chemistry class or a biology class and you look at things under the microscope, things that look flat are not really flat, right? Things that look flat are jagged and they're porous and they have all these little bumps and bruises that you didn't see from your naked eye until you really zoomed in, okay? This is kind of the logic behind a waffle weave towel, particularly when you're using it on glass, okay? One of the problems that people have when they're waxing a car or cleaning glass is it starts to streak. Whatever they're using is starting to streak. Streaking often comes from an uneven, I'm talking at more of a microscopic level, I guess. If you really boil it down to what it is, it's like an uneven application of a certain product, okay? Now, there can be more causes for streaking, right? Your towel's too wet or whatever. But when you really boil it down, it's like an uneven application of something on a surface. And so you see high points and low points. The high points are generally the streaks. They're where too much of the product is on the surface. My point here is that with a waffle weave towel, the reason they call it waffle weave is because why? It looks like a waffle. It's got all these little divots, just like a waffle does. So when you have a towel like this, One of the reasons why a towel like this works so well and they're so popular is because it is easier to get an even application of something on a surface with a waffle weave towel, because it's kind of this give and let go effect, because you have these pockets that are trapping the excess of the product, and then you have the divots that, you know, that are not pockets, the raised areas that are spreading the product. So it's like at like a, again, like I'm butchering this and I'm complicating it, and it's really simple. It spreads product more evenly, and it traps product so that you don't have too much of a product on a surface. And that's what I mean with the give and let go, the push pull, the whatever you want to call it, the yin yang, okay? It's like that's what's happening here. And that's why a lot of people use waffle weaves on glass, because it's easier to use this and not get streaks because of the nature of what it's doing, okay? That was an overcomplicated explanation, but let's go ahead and clean this glass and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, for those of you who don't know, I use a prep solution of 50% alcohol, 50% distilled water to clean glass before I shine it. This is not what the video is about, but in other news, you will find that glass is very hard to clean if you just go straight in with a window shine or a glass shine or a spray wax, whatever it is your preference. It will streak if the window is not prepared. Much like everything in the game of detailing, preparation is key. Prep, 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 okay? Like you use a clay bar before you wax, you use an alcohol solution before you use the glass cleaner. Just because something is labeled a glass cleaner doesn't mean it's going to clean at any effective level. So the idea here is, how do I get fingerprints off, fog off, any dressing that has gotten hot and kind of those fumes end up causing that kind of oily thing to stick to the window? How do I pull all of that off? Well, 50% alcohol, just rubbing alcohol from your local, whatever, Kroger, Walgreens, and 50% distilled water, okay? I spray it on the paint like this, and I don't have to be super, like I don't have to use a ton of it, okay? I take my glass-specific microfiber, and I fold it into fourths, all right? And I very simply use one side to work it in, okay? I'm not trying to dry it off. If anything, I don't necessarily want it to be dried off here. I'm working it into the glass, okay? I want the alcohol to have time to do what it does, all right? Go in whatever pattern you want, I don't care, all right? That's really not the point, all right? Then I flip to my dry side, bam, and I go ahead and buff it off, and this is going to pull all the water or the cleaning marks, the streaks off of the glass. And what the alcohol does is it just makes it very simple to get rid of the fog, the fingerprints, because water in and of itself and oil don't mix. So when you think about it from a chemical, like a chemistry standpoint, if I'm just using water or something that's really watered down, like you're going to find on retail shelves, it's not going to pull the fog off. It's going to move around the fog and move around the oils from your hands, because oil and water don't mix, right? And so many things you find on the shelf are so watered down. So that's why I'm saying just make your own solution of alcohol and water. Some of you guys are asking, is this safe on tint? Look, I use it on tint. I'm not telling you to. I will dilute it sometimes even in greater degrees in order to use it on tint. Again, you do that with your own like common sense, your own caution. But I want to show you guys. You can see there's some wet spots here on the towel. This is the wet side. This is the dry side. My point here is that there are no streaks on the glass. So truthfully, if I wanted to stop here, I could just stop here, all right? I could totally stop here and it would be fine. Point is, your towel has everything to do with what your glass looks like. Glass is hard enough in and of itself. You need to make it as easy on yourself as you can in the detailing world, because it really can be easier. Glass is not easy. Like, I spend a lot of time on glass to get it perfect for my customers, but it can be easier. There is a quicker way. It doesn't mean it's quick, it just means it's quicker, all right? It doesn't mean you should take shortcuts, but it doesn't mean shortcuts don't exist, all right? There are quicker ways to do things and still get great results. So, there you go. The glass is now ready to be shined, okay? So whether you use Stoner glass, I don't know, what is it called? Invisible glass, or you use Meguiar's spray wax. I'm gonna use Meguiar's spray wax, and we will use the waffle weave. Okay, this is Meguiar's spray wax. I use it on interior windows all the time because it not only shines up the window and makes it look really awesome, but it also puts a layer of protection. So it's like, why not, right? Yes, you can use glass cleaner specifically if you want to, if you're afraid, whatever. I will fold, I'll just show you guys just for simplicity's sake. I'm only gonna fold this in two, okay? So it's a big towel, all right? I'm just gonna fold it over once, all right? And I'm gonna clean it like this. Very simply, again, I'm just working the cleaner in. I'm sorry, not the cleaner, the wax. And then I flip to my dry side and I will buff any streaking off. Flip to my dry side, bam. This is very, very easy. By the way, a little bit goes a long way, so you don't need to like overdo it. Most people really overdo it and it's just not necessary. Okay, so the glass is now totally prepared as far as the interior goes. Now here's my point again. I use a waffle weave here. I don't have to use a waffle weave here. I could technically use a glass specific microfiber to work in the wax. Here's why I don't, okay? And by the way, there are different ways to clean wax. I mean to clean windows and to shine them. This is just one way I'm trying to show here. This is not the way I always use. A waffle weave towel, again, provides, in a sense, an easier way to evenly spread something around a surface. So when you're dealing with wax, that while yes, it is in some ways kind of watered down, you would say, Meguiar's spray wax is. It's not the strongest wax in the world. It is not in and of itself just a water liquid solution, right? The isopropyl alcohol water solution is not hard to buff off or to not leave streaks, because alcohol in and of itself kind of flash dries, and so you don't really have to worry about streaking in the first place, so regardless of the towel you use. But again, this glass specific will keep lint from getting on the glass, and it will save you a lot of frustration. The waffle weave is fantastic when I'm applying something that is a thicker solution. It's more viscous, right? Water is not very viscous, but this solution, while yes, I understand it kind of mimics water, it is not in and of itself just water. And in that, just like you would on the paint if you're using a spray wax, maybe on a hot day, you find that it's very easy to streak. Here, I get a very even application. Again, the waffle weave, the nature of the towel, kind of traps that solution in these divots and then uses almost the raised parts, kind of like that honeycomb design, to spread it evenly. And it's very absorbent as well because of the nature of how it's made, how it's designed. So it makes for a very good towel to perfect glass. And in the Wilson Auto Detailing world, when I'm dealing with customers, I was just talking to a detailer I love, and he said something I resonated with. He said, good enough is not good enough. I'm looking for perfection. I'm not looking for good enough. And that's what I've built my business on, is I'm looking for perfection. I'm not looking for good enough. And so I want my windows to be perfect. I don't need any streaks. I don't want anything that my customer sees. So when you have both of these towels, it ends up making your life very easy because, again, coupling it with the right chemicals, but you have this kind of perfected glass. Now, what I'm gonna do real quickly is actually just clean the exterior window with my glass specific towel and the alcohol solution, just because I want you guys to see the window, and if the outside is not clean, then it might look like the inside is not clean as well. And there's just a little bit of stuff right here. So I wanna clean the outside as well. And guys, the alcohol solution is just a non-negotiable for me because again, it just makes my life so much easier. So I'll go ahead and take my waffle weave again, take my spray wax, and truth be told, I could take my spray wax and spray 2 sprays on my waffle weave and just very simply work it in just like this, all right? And again, truth be told, and this is why I love Meguiar's spray wax, is because in many ways, you might not even have to buff it off, like I always do regardless, but in many ways, it's so easy to deal with, especially with glass, that you just don't even have to buff it off. And that's, again, anything that makes your life easier as a detailer and still gives you great results is something I'm a fan of. So let's look at the glass. All right, here it is. Bam, give you guys a few different angles. Okay, you can see right through it, right? No streaking. See if I can get some sun angles there so you can see the sun exposes everything. So if there were any streaks, you would see it. Check that out. Again, good enough is not good enough. I need perfection here. That's what people are paying for. So one of my major points here is your towels have everything to do with the results you're getting with your glass. And so let me address this problem, because it was a problem I had, and it's a problem that a lot of guys message me about. They say, lint is being left on the glass when I clean it, and it's pissing me off. I get that. I did that. Number one, what you're dealing with is a microfiber towel that is probably very traditional, like between 300 and 400 GSM, probably 350, honestly. That's like traditional 350 GSM. That is a higher pile, not a higher pile, it's a very average pile microfiber towel, but when you're using it with glass, when you use it over and over again, eventually, again, those fibers will break down. That's why I'm saying a glass-specific microfiber towel is not the worst thing in the world. There are also towels that are called surgical towels or huck towels that will do the same thing. They're very tight weave. Now, the other thing I would say is do not ever wash the towels that you're using on the glass with other towels. You have to reserve your glass towels for just that, glass. In fact, in my world, I reserve interior glass towels for interior glass and exterior glass towels for exterior glass. Those don't even get washed together. When you wash glass towels with, say, waxing towels or interior cleaning towels, it will cause your glass towels to get some of that dirt and muck and stuff from the other towels onto them, and it'll cause them to break down faster. So separating out your towels is half the battle, but again, having the right towels is half the battle as well. Hopefully that makes sense of why a glass-specific towel does what it does, a waffle weave towel does what it does. If you guys are interested in getting the Meguiar spray wax, or even the spray bottles, or this towel by Max Shine, or the waffle weave towel, I will hook up all that stuff with Amazon links below in the YouTube description box. This hopefully will help you. This is very practical information, and I hope it kind of maybe you can take a breath of fresh air and go, okay, I'm not crazy. This is how I'm supposed to do it. Again, let me say this. With a waffle weave towel, when you wash it over and over again, even though these are generally lower pile, lower GSM, they will begin to degrade as well and leave lint on the paint. So what I would encourage you is when you wash a towel like this over and over and it starts to leave lint on the glass, go ahead and just downgrade it to, this is gonna now dry the paint. Like, I don't have to throw it away. I can use it to dry the paint, wax the paint, whatever. Waffle weave towels are great, but again, having a glass-specific microfiber towel will probably ease a lot of your frustration. So if you wanna buy any of this stuff, there'll be Amazon links below. If you use any of my Amazon links, it does give this channel a small commission, but it helps this channel stay alive so I can keep putting out awesome content just like this. If you're new to the Wilson Auto Detailing community and you love everything auto detailing like I do, then consider subscribing. And as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you guys in the next video.